right, everybody, greetings and welcome to Conflict Radio. Today is July 6, 2022, and the Georgia Guidestones are gone. Scott Wolter is on the phone with us. Scott, what do you think about what's going on in Georgia today?
Well, I'm sick about it for a number of reasons. The only good news is the stones are not completely gone. They destroyed, somebody blasted one of the stones away, but there's four of them, four main stones that are held together by a central stone and a capstone. And it looks like just one of the slabs was destroyed, but I mean, I got to calm myself down because I'm pretty upset about this right now. I have to be honest with you, and I have some pretty strong opinions about it that probably are going to piss some people off, but frankly, I really don't care because the people that I think support this type of vandalism and destruction are just misguided, and it really speaks to a bigger problem that's happening in this country.
All right, Scott, I don't mean to, I'm sorry. I thought you had known. They did go by with the they did go and destroy the rest of the Guidestones today with an excavator. They tore the rest down. It's been confirmed.
Are you kidding?
No, it's on video. They tore them all down.
They tore them all down?
Yeah, they went through. They went through and they just brought them all down about 30 minutes ago. They're all down.
Why
Well,
did they do that?
I don't know. They might have been. They might have been. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe they were cracked or something. Here, let me bring up.
Who did it?
It was the people that were there. That they were there with an excavator with, I guess, one of those scoop buckets, those scoop things, I guess. I don't know what they're called, but they knocked the rest of them over and tore them down.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to bring it up on the screen here to show everybody here. I thought you knew. That's why I messaged you right away.
Well, I knew that somebody had blasted the stones in the middle of the night, but all I saw was one of those stones that had been brought down. I thought they were going to try to repair it.
Here we go.
And, replace it.
Well, if they replace it, it's going to be that's not going to work here. Let me remove that. If they're going to replace it, it's going to be replaced all new. I would imagine that because of the explosive, that I know the top stone was broken pretty good. I would imagine that because of the explosive that maybe the other one cracked and they deemed it too dangerous.
Oh God, I am really pissed off right now. I can't tell you how pissed I am. And the main reason why I'm pissed is because this is due to nothing less than religious zealotry. People. I mean, I hear things like saying, "Oh, these things are demonic," and it's anti whatever people's faith, and that's just flat out BS. And I mean, I posted a comment by somebody who's running for governor right now in Georgia, a woman who said, one of the 10 things I'm going to do when I'm elected is tear down these demonic stones, and that is completely wrong. And it's just, I mean, what gives people with some religious viewpoint the right to tear down a monument that was placed that actually is somebody's suggestion? This is not some demonic proclamation. If anybody ever read the 10 Commandments on the Georgia Guidestones and they had a functioning brain, they would think that they were, pretty good. I mean, living in balance, preserving nature, reasonable government, fair representation. I mean, this sounds a lot like our Constitution, which has been so maligned and twisted here lately that I'm just tired of it. And, frankly, Michael, while I'm on my soapbox, I have tried to remain neutral when it comes to politics and when it comes to religion and any of this public debate. But I just decided recently that I've had enough. I am a Freemason, and I know I can tell you that 53 of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence are Master Masons. And our country was founded upon the tenets of Freemasonry. Make no mistake about that. That is 100% absolutely true, despite what some people say and some people think. That is an absolute truth. And when I see what's happening in this country right now with our leadership, with our people in government, with the Supreme Court, are you kidding me? These people, this religious right, these religious zealots that are sitting there, on one hand, they're telling them, you can't tell me to take a vaccine. My body is, and it's my choice, it's my right. You can't tell me what to do. But these same people want to take away women's rights and tell them what to do. And it's not going to stop people from having abortions. It's actually going to kill women. And the hypocrisy of these people, I've had enough. And I'm not going to not say something. I am going to say something. And if people don't want to follow me anymore, that's fine. But I understand what our founding fathers intended. And I'm sitting here in real time watching our republic be destroyed. And it's things like what happened today with the Georgia Guidestones is exactly what the founders would absolutely be turning in their graves if they could see what was going on. And again, make no mistake, this is absolute religious zealotry that's going on, and it's got to stop. I mean, my God, are we going to go back to the Dark Ages? They're called the Dark Ages for a reason, when religion and politics and the monarchies were elevated above the people. And that's what's happening to us again. For God's sake, look, to say that I'm sick about it would be an understatement.
All right. Well, I mean, let's talk a little bit about it. I mean, a lot of people think that these Guidestones were erected by, by these New World Order that's trying to take out trying to reduce the population and everything else. I mean, it's kind of a victory to a lot of people that think that. See, I'm showing the video now of them completely destroyed. They have been completely taken out, and they're no longer there. The remaining ones have been removed.
Well, we're happy for them.
I mean, what about the people that say this is a win for humanity? That that these, I mean, they should probably have never been there.
They're simply misinformed because the reason that people are getting all bent out of shape is because it says that the world population should be no more than 500 million. It's not what does it say here exactly? It says, for some reason, it's not showing me. Here. Wait. Okay. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. It does not say anything about depopulation. It doesn't say anything about exterminating people, which is what these zealots are trying to say. That's not what it says. I just read it to you, in perpetual balance with nature. And frankly, I agree with that statement. Now, I don't know if 500 million is the right number, but let's face it, there are too many people on this planet. I know a lot of people aren't going to like hearing me say that, but it's true. We are destroying this planet, depleting the resources. Look at the water. I mean, my God, climate change isn't real? Are you kidding me? Of course it's real. And this was all preventable. And, part of the reason is, and I'm not saying that this is, the everyday person's problem. Big business has a lot to say about this. And, some people would say the New World Order. Well, look, if there's a New World Order, which I'm not sure if that's a real thing or not. But if there is, then there isn't a damn thing we can do about it. And destroying monuments like the Georgia Guidestones isn't going to solve anything. And in fact, the more they try to do things, the worse they make it.
All right. Well,
Georgia gubernatorial candidate Candace Taylor credits God for striking down satanic. This is what I'm talking about. These religious nut jobs. Jesus Christ. I am really pissed off. I don't know if you can tell, but I am really pissed. This is happening in real time. We are watching our country be just dismantled.
Well, let me ask you this, Scott. What about the monuments destroyed to all over the country a couple summers ago? That you're talking
about the Confederate monuments,
or monuments of George Washington, or
Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't believe in destroying anything. I just don't think that's the answer. I think what people need to do is have a calm, reasonable discussion about what these monuments mean and, should they be up there. Now, I guess for me, I'm a little bit confused why it seems like in every state there's a monument to General George Lee, the Confederate general. There are, I guess I was told that in Portland, Oregon, there is a monument to him. Portland, Oregon didn't even exist during the Civil War. And why are we putting up statues of generals that lost the war? Basically, that were, a lot of people would say were traitors to the United States, to our Union. I just don't understand why we want to immortalize those kind of people and have them in every state. I don't get it. And it's a symbol that represents to a lot of people in this country oppression, and I just don't understand why we have that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the if anybody's watching me scroll through the videos here. Oh, here we go. I got the video. I'm going to go ahead and post it here for everybody to see of I guess it's a bulldozer tearing down the rest of them. And let me rewind it. Yeah, so a bulldozer went back through and tore out the remaining ones, and I guess they are completely gone now. They didn't even. What's funny to me is that they didn't even go through with a I guess what I'm saying, like a team or somebody to if they were going to remove the rest of the stones because they were dangerous or at risk of falling over. They didn't even go through to carefully remove them and maybe move them to a museum somewhere. Like a bulldozer just came through and took the rest of them out. And I'm showing that here to everybody that there's two left here. I guess this video ends with two of them left, but I have seen screenshots and other videos of the other two remaining. Here's one here. Apologize for the noise, but here's another one here that shows that they are completely gone. They are all down and removed. Do you think
that probably had to do with somebody in a political position that had somebody go in there and demolish him before anybody could do anything to save him? Like you said, put him in a museum somewhere. This is just sick, and I know exactly what's behind it. This is basically, it's Republican fanaticism is what it is.
Do you think that this is just the start of something that we're seeing? It seems like.
Yes. No, it's not the start. It's a continuation of. I've said it 50 times. It's religious zealotry. There are people in this country there are politicians in our government that want to make Christianity our national religion, and this is a hard pass. This is no, hell no. And I mean, these are people that don't even understand what our country was founded on. And let's be clear, okay? The Freemasons who founded our country were following in the footsteps of their Knights Templar brethren, okay? The ones that were that were arrested, tortured, and burned by the Roman Catholic Church and the monarchs of Europe, specifically King Philip the Fair of France. Do people remember this? And yes, I'm just going to tell you the truth right now. The reason that we have freedom of religion in this country is a direct result of what happened to the Knights Templar in the beginning of the 14th century. And that ideology continued within Freemasonry. And our founding fathers understood exactly what happens when the church and the monarchies legitimize each other and they elevate themselves above the people. That is exactly what they did not want in this country. That's why we have a government of the people, for the people. I mean, do these idiots understand? Obviously they don't. And it's a travesty. And we're just watching in real time. These are the kind of things that the religious right, if they don't like it, they're going to take it down, just like they're doing in the Supreme Court. And, you know, you can argue all you want about the legitimacy of the people that are on that court. I happen to think that the way they got on was not legitimate. And they lied when they testified. And now they've taken away women's rights. And I don't even know why I'm so upset about it. Abortion will probably not affect me in my lifetime, but it pisses me off more than I can even say. I don't know why it does. I think it's just one symptom of a much bigger problem, and we're seeing it play out. The Georgia Guidestones. What's next? Okay, and you got to understand something. When the politicians in our country legitimize and embolden these people by the way they behave. Look what Trump did. I mean, all these ultra right wing nut jobs are emboldened to come out and march like the KKK. It's okay for them because our leaders tell them it's okay. And we're seeing it play out with the January 6th hearings. They're doing a great job of just bringing up the facts, having people testify who are almost exclusively Republicans. And we're seeing what happens when you have people with a radical ideology that this country does not stand for. And it's you wait and see what's next, right? I mean, look what happened. The day before yesterday, some young kid, I don't know what his problem is, just starts shooting up people at a July 4th parade. This is over 300 of these mass shootings that we've had in this country, and many of them could have been stopped if we had reasonable gun laws. But no, one party just wants, more guns, the merrier.
Well, there were 50 people. There were 50 people shot in New York City over the July 4th weekend, and they have the most strict gun laws out there. I think that the New York City and Chicago have even DC have the strictest gun laws out there. And
there are a lot of people that should not have guns. I don't think somebody should have. Look, you can't vote until you're 21, right? Why should you be able to buy a gun? If you've had a domestic...
You can vote at 18, Scott.
Is it 18 now? I don't even know what the damn date is. I'm so upset right now. But look, if you've had a felony, you shouldn't have a gun.
Well, that's actually a law.
Well, it's not in some states.
Yeah, it is a law, Scott. If you have a felony, you're not allowed to have a gun or vote.
Okay, what about people with some type of a domestic restraining order?
If you have a domestic restraining order, it's against the law for you to buy a gun.
I don't think that's true.
It is actually.
If you could check on that, I would like to know.
It's a fact.
Shouldn't there be background checks on people?
There are background checks on people.
No, there is not. I know that's not true. Not in every state.
So what state can you go buy a gun in without a background check?
Well, I read about it all the time.
I mean, what are your sources? I mean, you're sitting here saying that a felon shouldn't be allowed to have a gun. That somebody with a restraining order by their wife isn't allowed to have a gun. But those are already laws that are out there.
Okay, well, if they are, that's good. If that's true, then I'm absolutely happy as hell about that. Why do people need to buy AR-15s?
Well, I mean, you were just talking about the founding fathers and the founding documents. It's a right to bear arms.
Okay, but an AR-15, why do we need that? Look, here's the other thing, Michael. Let's be real here, okay? In 1776, the context of having a mobilized people with arms, that actually was a viable force that could actually make a difference, right? We're talking in 2022 now. Let me tell you something. If the military decided that they wanted to take out some armed militia, it'd be over before it started. The context of when these...
Well, Biden did say that, that the American people don't stand a chance against fighter planes.
Then why do we need AR-15s?
Well, if the government is because of simple statements like that, I mean, what are they going to use fighter planes to take out the American people, Scott? This is ridiculous. Hey, I wanted to talk about the Georgia Guidestones, man. I wanted to talk about the Georgia Guidestones. I didn't want to get into an argument about politics.
This is part of the problem. It's ideology.
Yeah, but I mean, you're saying things that don't make any sense. I mean, you're saying that felons shouldn't be allowed to have guns. They're not. There's a law that.
If I was wrong about that, then I take it back. Answer my question. Why do people need AR-15s? Why does the general public need them?
How about hunting, self-defense? It literally says in the Constitution that if the government gets corrupt, the American people have a right to take it down.
The American people aren't going to take it down. It ain't going to happen.
What about the idea, Scott, that the Democrats are actually bought and paid for by the Chinese, and they're trying to disarm us because what better way to control a population other than disarming it?
Show me the evidence.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of evidence out there. How about Germany or Venezuela or even China? Look at what happened in Australia. They disarmed Australia, and look what happened to them out there.
What happened to them?
The mandatory vaccinations.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but every person in this country had to have at least a half a dozen mandatory vaccinations to be a citizen of the United States when you were born. It's not like this is some new concept, right?
No, they actually had religious.
Religious what?
Religious exemptions. I mean, look. All I'm saying is my body, my choice. I mean, I agree with that, but that should.
Women have their choice. Why is it that you have to? That
women do have a choice. I think that.
Law that 60% of the population doesn't agree with, that women cannot have abortions in certain states. Why is it? It's okay. It's okay for people to say, it's my body, it's my choice to get a vaccination, but they're going to be the first ones to say, no, you have to. Even if a woman is raped, by a stranger or by by a family member, somebody that's 10 years old, you're going to force that girl to end any chance she had of having a viable life by having the child of somebody who raped her. That's okay.
Well, I mean, she's more than welcome to give it up for adoption.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
All right, man. Look, hey.
Come on, man. Look, you understand the hypocrisy of all of this. Look, I back down. If you were right about the felony thing and about the age 21, I was wrong. Then it's on me. I will stand behind that. But to sit here and say that, I don't want to have a vaccine, but you got to have an abortion, that's bullshit. I mean, period. It just is. It's hypocrisy, and there's no justification for it. And it's forcing people based on religious principles. That's what it's all about, and that's what I got a problem with. And I guarantee you our founding fathers all had a problem with that, and that's the fundamental issue, and that's why the Georgia Guidestones were brought down. Make no mistake about that. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised that if this guy, whoever did this, is not going to be found, because this is a right-leaning state. You could gubernatorial candidates that were all about tearing them down, and they're going to let this one slide. You watch. But if this guy had done something that was went against what that party wants, believe me, they would put every dime they have into holding him accountable, or her, whoever it is. And I'm just going to make a prediction now. They're not going to bring anybody to justice on this one. They're going to let it slide because it's a right-leaning state. You watch. You want to bet me a beer?
No, I'm not going to bet you a beer, actually.
Because you know I'm right.
You know, they have videos of the actual monument exploding. I've seen them on Twitter. I think I showed one earlier in this video. I'm sure they have a video of whoever was up there planting the explosive device that took these things out. But look, I'm sorry, man. I didn't want this to get into an argument over left and right, and obviously we're on different sides of the, I guess the political fence. But I think that it's important for all sides to just take a step back and look at the facts, and and to actually have conversations with each other that aren't that don't end in name calling and yelling and screaming. That doesn't help anybody. And
I apologize for getting excited, but I got to tell you, I'm extremely pissed off right now about everything that's happening here, and it's not a left-right thing. That's not what this is. Well, it
no,
is.
I think it's more of a. I think it's.
And no, this is what it's about. And make no mistake, that's what this is about. Well, instead of having a calm discussion, like people are having on Twitter right now with me saying, okay, well, this means depopulation. Is the word depopulation there at all? It says no. The world should have 500 million people that live in balance with nature. It says nothing about depopulation. It says nothing about killing people. I mean, this is what you're hearing. This is what people are saying, and it's not what it says. That's the fact. And so this is one person's opinion, whoever put that up there. And, I mean, it's no different than somebody talking about some religious prophecy that never comes true. I mean, why is that okay, but this is not?
Yeah. All right. All right, man.
You want to know the truth about the Templars, the reason that those Burgundian families formed the Templars in the first place at the beginning of the 12th century was because the church had predicted that Jesus would return in the year 1000. And then when he didn't come back, that created an opening for them to go after the church. And, the United States of America was the ultimate result of that mission. And it was a place where people could be free to practice whatever religion they want, where they could. I mean, look, the Roman Catholic Church hates me and my brothers as Freemasons. They hate our founding fathers. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. It's very simple. The reason is because when we take our obligations on our altar in our lodges, there is a Bible, there is a Torah, there is a Quran, there might be a Buddhist Bible. Native brothers take their obligations on an eagle feather. You know why we do that? Because whatever you call God, whatever you call your deity, we're all talking about the same thing, right? And the other thing that we teach is that you don't need a human conduit to get to Creator. And your relationship with God, deity, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, the Great Spirit, that's your business between you and your God, and it's nobody else's business. And that's what I got a problem with. That's what our founding fathers had a problem with, and that's what people in this nation should understand about what's going on. That is the fundamental problem. And believe me, brother, you know this as well as anybody. When a human conduit gets in between people and God, that's when all the crap goes to hell.
You mean like the Pope?
Yeah, like, well, yep, a Pope, a priest, a cleric, whoever, right? That's where the corruption starts. That's where the abuse starts.
Yeah, that's
Look,
true.
The history of the Catholic Church speaks for itself. I don't have to say one word. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? That's the problem that I've got. So instead of trying to push your religion on us, which is what's happening now, enjoy your faith, whatever it is. If you're a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, I don't care. Nobody should care. But people do care. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
Let me ask you this, Scott. Let me ask you this. So if Christians are targeting so-called satanic sites like I suppose the Georgia Guidestones, if that's
no,
what
it's not a satanic site.
No, I'm saying that's what they believe. I'm saying that that's what they I'm saying that that's what they believe. What other sites do we need to watch out for them destroying?
That's a great question, but you know what? If I knew the answer, I wouldn't tell you because they would become a target. Hey, you want to know something else, Mike? Part of the reason why I'm so upset about this, there's more to this story that I haven't told you.
All right.
When I was doing America Unearthed, okay, this is now the 5th site. Now, I'm not saying that it's my fault or that it's our show's fault for doing this. There are other people that have done shows on the Georgia Guidestones. I'm not the only person that's done a show on it. But I will tell you this. There are 5 different situations now, artifacts and sites, that we did episodes on that have been desiccated or destroyed. The other 4 happened shortly after we did our episodes. You might recall we did an episode on one of the artifacts that was stolen, right?
Yeah.
And we did another episode on some petroglyphs that were up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan within 3 months. And that's all we said was the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We didn't say where up there, but somebody went into town in Copper Harbor and asked some of the locals, and they told them where to go, and they destroyed some of what they consider to be pagan petroglyphs, okay? Pagan, right? Not Christian. Here again, forcing your religion and destroying an artifact because you interpret it to be the devil's work. By the way, there is no devil, okay? That's another creation of the Roman Catholic Church to make people, to keep them in line. There is no devil, okay? That's BS. And this is what I'm talking about. That happened 3 months after the episode aired. The Judah Stone, some idiot went down there with a can of spray paint and, just, this is part of the reason why I'm upset, is because this is what people do, and they do it for the most screwed up reasons, and usually it has to do with their belief system. And I just wish people would have a more healthy attitude towards their relationship with deity, who or whatever it is that they choose to venerate. And that's part of that's why I'm so upset, Mike. And I apologize for being this way, but and then you tell me now that they took all of them down. I'm just sick about it. I'm absolutely sick.
Yeah, I'm actually watching. I just now found a video of them taking down the last 2 remaining ones that were standing. They're being knocked over right now, and they're shattering. They're shattering on the ground into probably millions of pieces.
Yeah, well, that tells me that there's more people behind the scenes that are trying. They have an opportunity to destroy them, and so that's what they're doing, and that's wrong. It's wrong. Sorry, there's no other way around it. It's okay. Can we just do something for fun? Can you open this real quick? Can we just do something for fun?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. Just indulge me for a second, if you will, Mike.
All right.
Let's just read what these other tenets are, okay? guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. You got a problem with that one?
Well, I think that people should be able to make up their own mind about reproduction, don't you think?
Yeah, but when you have young people that are looking for guidance that don't have good mentors, they have parents that aren't doing the job that they should be doing. There's a lot of people like that in this country. So if there's going to be some public education, it should be wisely guided reproductive information. I guess, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Improving fitness and diversity. 3, unites humanity with a living new language. Well, you can debate that one too, but we already have a common language. It's called the internet, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, well, I think that one speaks for itself. And there's nothing wrong with preserving languages, different languages. I know that the Ojibwa people here up in Minnesota, where I live, the young people have really made a strong effort to try to preserve their old language. And I think that's wonderful. But we also have to have a way where we can all communicate. And I think the internet is it. 4, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Got a problem with that one?
Well, I mean, I would say that it's fair that I probably don't understand that as much as I probably should. Why don't you explain that one to us a little?
Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. What they're saying is that you got to just take a step back. You don't blow up a monument because you interpret it to be something that's bad when, frankly, you don't even understand it. Tempered reason, calm reason, traditions, faith, passion, right? In Freemasonry, we have to control our passions. That's what they tell us to do. When people get all wound up, they make mistakes, like I did earlier in this conversation. That's what it means, tempered reason. I don't know how anybody can disagree with that. Number 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. I frankly don't know how anybody could disagree with that one.
I think it was more of the idea of the first statement that upset people.
Number 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Well, a lot of people would say, well, we have that. It's called the United Nations.
Well, don't you think the United States has its own sovereignty, though, doesn't it? I mean, we don't answer to the United Nations. I think that's see right there, Scott, is the problem that people have. This is about American independence, not controlled by some new world order.
Let all nations rule internally. There's your sovereign nation right there.
Yeah, internally.
Correct. And what it's saying here is any issues within our own country, we deal with ourselves. But if we have external disputes, like, for example, Russia invading Ukraine, right?
Well, what about, well, in all honesty, I mean, we did have a lot of biolabs there that were produced, why do we have to put all our biolabs in Ukraine?
Look, I'm not talking about the specifics of what some people think might be going on, which may or may not be going on. The point is that you've got two nations that are at war with each other, that they are not going to, between the two of them, agree, right? And what they're saying is resolve external disputes in a world court. So what it means is that when two kids are acting up, the parents have to intervene. And
so who should be the parents of the United States?
Well, look, we are part of a world,
a new world order. Say it.
Well, no, not a new world order. It is a fact that we are one of over 200 countries around the world. 300, I don't know what the number is off the top of my head. But what gives us, any greater rights than some other country?
Yeah, but it's up to us. We don't have any other rights that another country shouldn't have.
Right. Exactly.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay, but what happens? What happens if China and Russia got together and tried to attack us? We want the rest of the world to intervene and say, "Hey, tap the brakes, guys." We would be looking for help, right? I mean, right now we could probably handle them.
How would we be able to handle Russia and China? We don't have hyperglide vehicles. Our supersonic missile test just failed. We don't even have hypersonic weapons. I mean this is crazy. I mean the Obama administration destroyed us as the reason why Russia's boldly attacking Ukraine is because they know that we can't stop them.
Well, here's the thing. I understand. I don't want to get into specifics, but what I'm talking about is that if let's say 3 or 4 countries banded together and wanted to attack the United States, we would be looking for some help, wouldn't we?
I mean, hopefully not.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, exactly. And look, let's go back to what this thing says. Let all nations rule internally. If you got a problem within your own country, you take care of it. All right? That's what we're always saying, right? But if there's some external dispute, like I'll just use Russia and Ukraine, I'm not here to try to say who is in the right or the wrong. But clearly those two are not going to decide and resolve their issues with each other, so they need external help in a world court.
Or they could just fight it out.
Well,
we should get out of there and let them fight it out.
Well, okay, so the world's breadbasket is in Ukraine.
Actually, the United States is the world's breadbasket.
Part of the reason why we have our economy is struggling right now. The whole world is struggling right now because of this war, in part due to this war. So that it is in the world's best interest. They export world wheat all around the world.
Do you think
the world's breadbasket?
Do you think it's possible? Let me ask you this, Scott. Do you think it's possible that a communist agenda has worked its way into our system so meticulously over the last 50 to 60 to 80 years that you and a lot of other people might just be brainwashed to the idea that getting rid of the United States and the United States Constitution is actually and going to some new world order that's run by the UN the best option for this country?
I'm not even sure what you mean by the question, but if you think that there are people who are trying to undermine the Constitution, no, no, I don't want to undermine the Constitution. I want to prop up and support the Constitution. But people don't understand what the Constitution says. They're misinterpreting it, just like they're misinterpreting what the Georgia Guidestone says. Number 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. I don't have a problem with that. More laws? Hell no. Useless officials? Get rid of them. I mean, if you want to know what my personal opinion is, I think that many of our people in government are just too old, including Trump and Biden. I mean, Biden's best days are behind him. I trust him. I know he's a smart guy, but let's face it, his best days are behind him, and I think we need some new blood. I think Pelosi is probably time to retire. Chuck Grassley, Dianne Feinstein. There's a bunch of others on both sides of the aisle. But frankly, I think the biggest problem we have is that these are lifetime jobs, lifetime appointments. There should be term limits. And our founding fathers definitely didn't believe in lifetime appointments for people. Lifetime jobs as public servants. I mean, the original idea was for people to come in and serve in government, whether they came from the farms, from their practices, from the factories, and then they served for a designated period of time, and then they went back, and then somebody else came, right? If you had somebody who was very wise and right, and would be a career politician type, have them sit on an advisory board, but don't give them a free lunch for the rest of their lives like these politicians. I just think that's where all this corruption can creep in, and why we have this problem. But no, I don't want to get rid of the Constitution, not even a little bit. I want to prop it up. I want to see it interpreted properly, not by people that have a religious agenda, and that's what's happening now. 8, balance personal rights with social duties. I don't have a problem with that one either. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Now, I know a lot of people won't understand what the infinite means, but it means with all things. And I don't know how anybody can have a problem with that. Well, I know there's certain people that have a problem with truth, but that's a different question. And the last one, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. It says it twice. And I don't have a problem with that one either.
All right, Scott. I promise you 15 quick minutes. We've gone for almost an hour, man. I certainly appreciate the time you spent with us. What are you working on? What are you working on now?
I got worked up, and I hope I didn't say anything offensive to you. I didn't mean.
No, not at all. No, I mean, we all have our opinions. I hope that maybe you could see the bigger picture of what's going on, other than just this. I think they're trying to. I think they're attempting to have a color revolution in this country. It's a Marxist revolution, and I think that they're actually trying to overthrow the Constitution. I think that the last thing that President Biden is doing is what's best for the American people. I think he's doing what's best for the New World Order, and I think that maybe you should, maybe hopefully you've got some seeds planted inside of you that'll grow, and you'll be able to see what's really going on.
Well, I'm not sure. There's a part of me that sees the need for. I mean, look, we're all living on this same great big green and blue ball, right? And it's getting smaller and smaller all the time. And the more people that we have on this planet, the more we're going to have to think about it in a world capacity. And it's if there's one thing in life that's absolutely universal, that's change. And, what happened when our country was founded 250-something years ago, or it's pretty close. No, it'll be 1819. God, it'll be 300 years before we know it. Times have changed, in part due to population. And that's just a reality. And I know a lot of people don't like it. They don't want to hear it, but it's true. And again, the Guidestones did not say to depopulate. It just made a suggestion of what, whoever put those stones up thought would be the best in the long term for this planet. And I don't know what the magic number is, but our increasing population is putting more strain on our resources, on our environment, and on us. And we're seeing the fallout of that now. And if people can't see that we're hurting our planet, they're just not being honest with themselves. And it's, we need to address it, and we're not addressing it. We keep kicking the can down the road, and it's going to bite us. It's already biting us. And
yeah, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation just tweeted, I guess just before we went on the air, Scott, that for safety reasons, the structure has been completely demolished.
Yeah, well, that sounds really great, doesn't it? I don't buy that for a second. They didn't have to destroy it. They could have engineering wise, they could have safely taken the stones down and preserved them if they wanted to, but they didn't want to.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I both know that if they wanted to, they could have, for safety reasons. Give me a break. You just have security there. You keep people away, and you take it down with a controlled demolition. Is what you do. But that's not what they wanted to do. I don't believe that for 1 second. That's just a bullshit statement. I'm sorry, but I don't buy it for a second.
Yeah. All right.
You know what I'm saying.
Hey,
you know exactly what I'm saying, brother.
Do we have more America Unearthed on the way?
No, I don't think so. Not new ones. We're working on a new project here that we're hoping will. I don't know. I don't know if cable television is the right venue for it or not. I think streaming is probably a better way to go. But it really the story we're working on is fantastic, and it really goes to the heart of what you and I have been talking about, the true founding of this country. That people need to understand what really happened, and I tipped you off. It started with the Templars, and they passed the obligation on to our founding fathers, who were all Freemasons. But what a lot of people don't know is they were also Knights Templar. They just didn't tell anyone. And so if you go back and study the history of the Templars and what happened to them, this is what our founding fathers did not want to have happen. And it's happening in real time, right in front of our faces right now. Again, I just want to be clear. I am not saying that there's anything wrong with a person's religious viewpoint. But that's your viewpoint. And that doesn't mean that you can criticize somebody else, that you can attack somebody else, that you can destroy something that you interpret somehow to be antithetical to your faith. That is not right. And that is what our founding fathers feared, because it's tearing down monuments. Next thing you know, they're going to be wanting to hang people. Oh, yeah, I guess that already happened. Hang Mike Pence.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it at that. Is that not zealotry? This is people who were completely misinformed. Let me ask you a question. Just be honest with me right up. Do you think the election was stolen?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Without any evidence, 61 lawsuits, not one shred of evidence, but you still believe it.
You can watch 2,000 Mules. Have you seen 2,000 Mules?
I have watched 2,000 Mules, and that's a bunch of BS.
Okay.
That's been roundly debunked.
By who?
2,000 Mules was supposed to be the godsend, and it's nothing, brother. It's nothing. There's no evidence there of any kind. Zero.
Do you know what devolution is?
De-evolution?
Devolution.
Go ahead.
Devolution. Well, it's way too complicated for me to get into, but Google won't let you search the term. But if you go to DuckDuckGo and look up devolution, maybe it'll give you kind of an idea of what's really going on. I don't think Biden is the real president. I think it's all a show.
What do you mean he's not the real president?
Well, show me one picture of Biden with the football.
With a football?
With the nuclear football.
I'm not sure what you mean by that. You mean
Biden doesn't have control over our military?
Well, I mean, that's a different question.
Yeah.
That's a whole different question.
Look up devolution.
You're telling me that there are other people behind the scenes that are calling the shots? Totally agree with you.
Well, yeah, but it's not who you think.
Well, I don't know who it is, but all I can tell you is, 2,000 Mules was talking about people dropping off ballots and doing all this crazy stuff. Here's the thing. One person, one vote, right? And the ballots are sealed. And where are they going to get more? They're not going to create more.
Let me ask you a question.
How did that happen?
Do you think that only American citizens should be allowed to vote in this country?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Do you know that the Biden Department of Justice is suing Arizona for wanting people to prove that they're actually an American citizen before they can vote?
not aware of that, but I would have to see proof of that before I believe it.
Yeah. Just Google Department of Justice Arizona vote lawsuit. I'm sure it'll come up. They just sued the state of Arizona. I mean, I think we've got other things to worry about besides whether or not Arizona's letting, trying to stop, voter ID laws and everything else. Do you think you should be able to use you should have to use your ID to vote?
Well, we do have to.
Yeah, but do you think you should be? You think you should have to?
Yeah, I think you need to prove your identity when you vote.
Yeah, great. That's awesome, man. See, you're halfway. You're halfway there, man.
Well, where is it that people don't have to prove their identity to vote?
New Jersey, for one.
Well, I'm not sure how
California.
Their system is set up, but
yeah.
Well, like I said, prove to me that there was any voter fraud. I haven't seen it.
I'm sure it'll come out.
2,000 Mules didn't do anything for me. I'm sorry. And it's been roundly debunked and criticized, and it didn't prove anything. It's
been debunked and criticized by, I guess, right, the New World Order controlled media.
Well, yeah, I
mean,
guess so.
do you not agree that the media is controlled and biased?
Well, I would say certain media is controlled and biased. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Fox News is.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. They're just as bad as all the other ones.
Do you think? Well, we can agree on that. Do you think Trump is fit for office?
I think he's more fit for office than Biden is.
That's not what I asked you.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think he tells the truth?
I do.
Really? Honestly, dude. Seriously, Mike. Come on.
I think.
Do you think that the hearings that are happening right now with January 6th, do you think what they're presenting is factual?
No.
Really?
Do you honestly think Trump was choking a Secret Service agent while reaching for the steering wheel of the car?
Well, the answer to that question is I don't know. Would I put it past him? Hell no. And by the way, that whole thing is just a distraction.
A distraction by them? Why would they distract? No, why would they do that?
It's a distraction by people that want to try to go after the January 6th committee.
You mean do you think it's an unbiased committee?
No, I don't think they're unbiased at all. I think what they're doing is they're trying to hold Trump accountable for the crimes that he committed. And by the way, you can claim that it's a biased committee, but nearly everybody who has testified are Republicans.
Oh, you like Liz Cheney?
Pardon me?
Like Liz Cheney?
I said the people that are testifying.
Yeah, they're Republicans like Liz Cheney.
No, she's not testifying. She's on the
No,
committee.
But she's a Republican.
She is.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see.
She's a Republican, so is Adam Kinzinger. And these people are some of the bravest people I've ever seen. They're, he gave up his seat, and she's going to lose her seat probably because they're going to vote in people that are claiming the election was stolen, and there's no proof, there's no evidence of it, and it just didn't happen. And here's the problem with that whole argument. You want to know what the real sad part is?
Well, the victors will write the history, right?
Here's what's going to happen. By undermining the integrity of the elections, you disenfranchise your voters. So isn't that
what Hillary did when she lost?
What do you mean?
It was all about the Russians, right?
She didn't say that. Oh, well, yeah, that was true. Trump was. Yeah, but the point is if you disenfranchise your voters, what you're going to do is you're going to mobilize, and that's what's happening right now. I just saw a poll today that said both Biden and Gavin in California hold higher in a presidential race than neither DeSantis or Trump right now. And by the way, I hope the Republicans nominate Trump, because you'll lose again if you nominate him.
Well, we'll see, I suppose.
Well, that's not going to work. Right?
No mail-in ballots this time, okay?
What's wrong with the mail-in ballot?
Watch 2,000 Mules.
I watched it. I told you I watched it.
Well, then you should know.
Once people cast their vote, it's sealed. The vote is there. How it's handled after that is really irrelevant. But look, it's very simple. We had a pandemic going on that if your guy had actually taken seriously, it probably wouldn't have been as severe, and we wouldn't have all been locked down for 2 years, or at least not as severely. But anyway, the point is that everybody knew that Republicans typically vote on voting day in the morning, or not morning, but they vote that day, right? And so the votes coming in were going to go for Trump initially, because mostly Republicans vote on voting day.
Well, actually, before 2020, everybody voted on voting day.
Yeah, but there's plenty of reasons why people. I mean, what about people that are serving in the military? Do you know that most politicians vote by mail, including Trump and his family and all the people in his cabinet?
Well, no, that's totally fine. As you know, I mean, that's totally fine. We're talking. Look,
what's wrong
stop.
with it?
Let's stop, Scott. I don't want to get into this with you, man. We're not going to agree. We're not going to change each other's minds on this show. Let's let it go, man.
The facts are the facts. The mail-in votes came in days later, and that's why the election went for Biden. But the reason that Biden won the election is very simple. He got more votes. He got more electoral votes.
81 million. He got more votes than Obama did in 2008. It's impressive. That's impressive. I mean, he can't get 5,000 people on a live stream, but 81 million votes. Cool.
Well, let's face it. People were pissed. People were mobilized, and more people came out and vote. And frankly, going back to population, we have more people in this country than we had in 2016. So,
well, if you include all the dead voters.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on now.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question, man. Do you know who Corn Pop is?
No.
Oh, Corn Pop is a bad dude.
Who's Corn Pop?
Corn Pop is a bad dude.
Well, that doesn't tell me who he is. Who's
come
Corn Pop?
Come on, man.
Come on, I don't know who Corn Pop is.
Corn Pop was Biden's bully.
His bully? What do you mean?
His bully. Biden was bullied when he was a lifeguard by Corn Pop.
You mean when he was a kid?
Yeah, he was a bad dude.
You mean Corn Pop was, or Biden?
Corn Pop.
Okay, so he bullied him, and why is that relevant?
That's because he was a bad dude, man. I'm just trying to change the conversation. Hey, Scott, where can everybody find you?
Well, I would say just go to my Twitter at Real Scott Wolter, and go to my blog if you want to, come after me and tell me how full of shit, full of it I am. Just go to my blog, which is scottwolteranswers.com. And if you're interested in reading any of my books about the Templars, not about politics, go to my website, which is www.hookedx.com.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating stuff you've done on the Templars. Let me ask you this. You should put out and try to get some pieces of these Guidestones.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be great, but I have a feeling they're not going to let anybody get anywhere near that, because in many ways, the Guidestones suddenly become like a crucified Jesus in a way, right? And you're probably wondering, what the hell are you talking about? What I'm talking about now is something that was destroyed unjustly for the wrong reasons, right? And what happens is when that type of thing happens, those people or those things can become martyrs. They can become symbols for people to rally behind, right? And so if you don't want people to do that, you destroy it, right?
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, it's what happens, right? I mean, we watched it all during the summer of 2020.
You follow my logic, right?
No, I totally get it. You know, we seen it all during the summer of 2020. I mean, Christopher Columbus, right? I mean, come on.
Well,
wasn't he a Mason?
No,
he was a Templar, wasn't he? He got the maps from a Templar.
No. His navigator was Columbus was a greedy asshole. He was terrible. He committed genocide against the natives. He forced them basically into slavery while he was there. When they didn't work, he cut off their hands or their arms. I mean, if you knew the truth about Columbus, you'd realize what a POS he was. And he was greedy. I mean, if you look at it, I found a hooked X in his Book of Privileges. And basically his Book of Privileges is something he wrote down at the end of his life, basically saying that, you know, the crown owes me this for doing this. And I just haven't seen any evidence that this guy was a Templar. He may have been flying the Knights of Christ flags, but the other thing about Columbus is he was a crypto Jew. Do you know what a crypto Jew is? A crypto Jew is somebody who was inwardly Jewish. Their true ideology, their religious faith is Judaism, but outwardly they are Christian, because they have to practice Christianity, otherwise they risk persecution from the Roman Church. And so when Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, the day that his ship set sail was the same day that the church initiated an inquisition, and basically going around to see who was, you know, pure good Christians, and those who weren't were tortured and or killed. What a great faith, huh?
Yeah.
And that's what, and many people believe, as I do, that Columbus himself was a crypto Jew. And what he did was he took a lot of those people on his ships and brought them to North America so they could have a better life. That's basically what the Templars did, right? They were persecuted, they were arrested, they were tortured, they were burned. And so they used their treasures. They hid them over here in the New World for someday. And what they called that someday was when their ideological descendants could establish what they called a free Templar state. That free Templar state is now called the United States of America. And as I told you before, that obligation was handed off to the founding fathers, who were all Freemasons, i.e. Templars. And they recovered those treasures the Templars hid centuries earlier and use that money to fund the Revolution. That's how our country was founded. That's the true story. That's why we have freedom of religion, because they didn't want that to happen again. And going back to why you called me in the first place, we're seeing what happens when we let zealotry take over. Trump wanted to be a monarch. Do people remember we fought a revolution against a monarchy? Do you want a guy with ultimate authority, or do you want the government to be controlled by the people? The majority rules. Isn't that the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
I mean, you agree with that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
people
you know,
in this country don't want want abortion to be a woman's choice. But yet they had something else cramped down their throat. That's not democracy. That's a fact. We can disagree on it, but the facts are what they are. That's what I'm talking about. If you ask people in this country today, right now today, in fact, you might want to just post a poll for your listeners to vote on. How many people think what happened today was the right way to handle the Georgia Guidestones? I bet you 50% or more would say it wasn't the right way to handle it. I don't think you think that was the right way to handle it.
Well, I'm not gonna, it is what it is, right?
Well,
all right, Scott. Hey, man, thanks so much for coming on the show. I'm gonna let you go, man.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you for indulging me. And I think what we want to do is just agree to disagree. And next time I see it, I'll buy the beer. How about that?
Yeah, I think it would have been best if they had just taken the remaining stones and moved them somewhere else. I don't think that they needed to bulldoze the whole thing down like it did. I mean, yeah. It is history, and it is a monolithic monument. I think that, even though, I mean, they could say all day, it was only done in 1980 or whatever, but I mean, it was a beautiful monument. It was. I mean,
it was, and that part of it is still there, right? If you watch the videos, as you're looking at the Guidestones from the parking lot to the right, which I think is to the south, I can't remember exactly, there is a large concrete slab. And there's a bunch of stuff that's carved on there. And you probably don't know this, but the long-range plan was to add more stones and make it a bigger monument.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Well, here's the other thing. I'll leave you with this parting thought. There were a lot of astronomical alignments there, right?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them going on right now.
Yeah. I mean, in the heavens, but I'm talking about the Georgia Guidestones. And in many ways, what happened today is going to bring more attention to the Guidestones and to what they say. So in some ways, by destroying it, you further the agenda of the person that built it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, what are they, it's not like they're going to run around out there trying to, depopulate the planet. I guess we'll see. I mean, that's...
Well, no, that was never part of the plan, although, and I promise I'll stop, one of the things that some people have suggested is that the coronavirus was engineered to lower the population. And you know what? There's an argument that could be made there. I'm not saying it's true or not, but that's not as crazy an idea as some people might think.
Well, like I said, we're gonna have to agree to disagree, man. And hey, I guess you already told everybody where to find you. Hookdex.com, right?
Yeah, HOOKEDX.com. You can see my books there, and then my blog is a great place if you wanna hash it out with me. I get pretty rough and ready on there, and people just give it right back to me. That's a lot of fun. And you want to do 15 minutes of questions right now?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man! Let's go.
All right, everybody. All right, hey, 15 more minutes, okay? Let's make it a full show today. So, everybody, Scott, let me I'll ask your questions in the comment area here. We've got a ton of people in here, Scott. There's a ton of people in here listening to us live right now. So, if anybody has a question for Scott, and Scott, I'm going to tell you, they haven't been friendly with you in the chat so far.
Okay, it's all right. Listen, bring it.
All right, so let's go, people. If anybody has a question for Scott, go ahead and ask it in the chat group. I know we got a little bit of a delay here, but if anybody has a question, go ahead and post it, and we'll go for another 15 minutes. All right. Lord Malphus wants to know, is there a time capsule there?
That's a great question, and I do not know the answer. But if there is one, I have an idea where it might be, but I'm not going to say.
Do you think it wouldn't actually be inside the granite, right? It would be underneath it somewhere, wouldn't it?
I can't say, but those are big granite slabs, right? And I would say if it was inside the granite, if they broke it up in as many pieces as it sounds like, what you described, then they probably found it.
All right.
If that's where it is.
King Valus Felix wants to know, what are the chances a foreign power blew them up? Is that possible at all?
Anything's possible. I don't know why a foreign power would care, and what foreign power would care. I find that to be highly unlikely. I think this was probably either just a rogue person that did it on their own, that felt emboldened by the rhetoric of the day, or there may have been something going on with a particular political group. But more likely, I think it was some Christian religious group. That's my opinion.
Okay.
But I don't think a foreign power had anything to do with it, but anything's possible.
All right. Chili Peen wants to know, do you think there was any insurance collected on this? Do you think that maybe they had insurance on these stones?
That's a really good question, too, because in many cases when things are destroyed or intentionally lost or stolen, there are insurance, motivations behind it. I don't think that's what's going on here, though.
Okay. BH wants to know, do you know that Jesus loves you?
I think Jesus...
He loves everybody, right? Let's move on.
Well, let's put it this way. I believe in the humanity of Jesus. I think he was a very important, wise person in his day. But I believe that he died. I believe his remains are in the Telpiat tomb. And as much as I know a lot of people want to believe that he's coming back, he's not coming back. But that's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
All right. Updated E wants to know, why do we not know who built the Guidestones?
Because he wanted to be anonymous. And, that's a great question, but really it's a simple answer. He didn't want the Guidestones to be about him or whatever organization he might have been associated with. What he wanted people to do was to focus on the message. And they did focus on the message. The only problem is they misinterpreted it. A lot of people have misinterpreted it. So whoever the person was, I actually think I know who it is, but I'm not going to say.
You can't guess? You can't make a guess?
No, I'm pretty sure I know who did it, but that person would not want to be part of the discussion. They wanted to make a statement, to put something that would force people to think about their world, their lives, about their futures, and they did a pretty good job.
All right. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, John, for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. He says, any news on Oak Island?
Well, the simple answer is there's nothing on Oak Island. I told you what happened.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think there's anything there either.
Yeah, no, there hasn't been anything there since the revolution.
You think we funded the revolution with what was found there?
Well, Oak Island was one of many treasures. Look, the Templars aren't stupid. They would never put all their eggs in one basket. I mean, we're smarter than that. It was one of many.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Hugo Darn says, do you believe in God? If so, what do you call him?
deity. And the deity that I believe in has male and female aspects. I don't call deity a he. In fact, if I was forced to pick a gender, it would be feminine, because women are life givers. They are creators. And when you talk about deity, you talk about God. When you talk about Jesus, really what you're talking about are feminine aspects, not male aspects. But I don't know. I just believe in a higher power, and I don't give it a name. I just call it deity.
All right. Do you think that Ted Turner built it?
No.
No? Okay.
Good guess, though.
All right. Lightning Ross is hi from Thunder Bay, Canada.
Oh, beautiful place.
All these years, and who ordered them down? All right. So Azak Tech says, or Ezatech, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. That's whatever. I'm starting to wonder if we were wrong about the message meaning after all these years, and who ordered them to come down. You think they were ordered down?
Well, again, I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it. Again, because Georgia is a strongly right-wing leaning state. One of the gubernatorial candidates said she would absolutely bring the stones down. So I saw that as it's okay if something happens to it. But I think this was a rogue person who was just emboldened by what I consider to be careless rhetoric by some of the Republican candidates. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you.
All right. Ian Withers says he is right. Man creates nothing. It takes women to create.
Well, that's right.
All right.
He's right. I mean, look, that's not rocket science either, is it? I mean, but let's be fair about it, right? The ladies need us, but without them, we have nothing. And to try to control them, especially on something so personal, they have rights too. And I know that people are going to say, well, what about the rights of the baby? And I can appreciate that. But, that gets to the point where, when is a life a life? Well, some people say at conception. Well, what about every ovary that is produced, that a woman produces in her lifetime? Every one of those is a potential baby. For that matter, every sperm swimming, from the male is a potential life too. Where do you draw that line? That's the fundamental question, and that's a difficult question. And I don't pretend to have the answer, but I sure as hell don't think that should be a government mandated thing. Absolutely not. I guess that we have to have some kind of laws, but what's happening right now is definitely not the answer, in my opinion.
All right. The Watcher says, this guy is onto the truth. Tell him I said this. In the beginning was Source. The Source divided itself into heaven, Father, and Mother, Earth. Jesus is the Source. That's why he is the only begotten, I guess.
Well, I'm not sure about that. Jesus was lionized by an institution. He was an important person in his time. If you want me to just be real about it, of course he was real, right? And he had children, a number of children. And those children had children. And those children had children. And Jesus has bloodline descendants that are alive today. Many of them in important political positions, and many of them are poor, many of them are middle class. There's probably millions of people. It's a fact that every person walking on this planet today has ancestors that were alive 2,000 years ago. That's a fact. So why is it such a hard thing to believe that Jesus doesn't have descendants walking on the earth today? In fact, he does. So I don't know if that makes him any more special than anybody else. He's just a person that's been lionized. I know a lot of people will think that's blasphemy, but that's their choice to believe that. I choose not to believe it, and that's my right too.
All right. And I'm going to ask you one more question, and I'm going to have to let you go because I just got 10% warning on my phone. So Davy Jones Lock.
Okay.
Davy Jones Locker wants to know, is the Ark of the Covenant real, and where is it?
Well, here's what we can tell Davy Jones. Yes, the Ark is real, but the secret of the Ark of the Covenant is not where it is. It's how to make one. There are many arks.
Yeah, I agree with you. Have you figured out how to make one yet?
Well, I haven't done it yet, but I have the instructions.
Man, well, if you want to send them to me, I'll go ahead and put them on my website for everybody.
You got to buy me a lot of beer, brother, before I can do that.
All right, man. Hey, tell everybody again real quick where to find you, because I don't want to lose you and have you cut off in the middle of the conversation, and I'm going to wrap the show up.
Yep, no problem. If you want to hit me up, go to Twitter. My Twitter handle at Real Scott Wolter. I'm also on Instagram. You can find me there. My blog is scottwolteranswers.blogspot.com. And my website where you can look at my books is www.hookedx.com, HOOKEDX.com. Hey, Michael, thank you for letting me kind of lose my mind a little bit today, but I was really upset about this, and you caught me at a bad time, so I hope I didn't offend you. I appreciate being on your show and having this opportunity, and I hope people take what I said in the spirit it's intended, and if they don't agree, that's okay. That's what makes America great, is we can all have an opinion, and we can also disagree with each other, but we need to maintain respect for each other. So I apologize if I offended you, and it's okay that we don't agree. That's just fine.
I think it's fine we don't agree, Scott, man, and I just want to let everybody know we literally threw this together in 10 minutes?
Was it that long?
I was like, do you have time to come on the show? You're like, yeah, let's go now. So it was like, yes, okay, let's go.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's what makes life interesting, and what makes it fun. And having, intense discussions like we did, I think is a good thing. And I hope people that lean right have thought about some of the things I've said, and I hope the people on the left side have thought about some of the things I said. Neither side is totally right, but at the end of the day, we have to come across the aisle. We need to put our hands together and figure out together these big problems that we all face in this country.
Yeah.
And it's not just politicians, it's neighbors, it's friends like you and me, and that's what has to happen. We have to.
I agree. I think it's important. I think it's important that everybody finds common ground. Keep in mind, this might have been done on purpose to try to divide us even more.
You bet.
So,
great point.
So
that's a really good point.
So let's keep that in mind. Let's stay together. Thanks so much, Scott, for coming on, man. I hope you had a good time. I hope you don't hate me.
No, I don't. Listen, I appreciate being able to be my true self. And it wasn't always pretty, but I meant what I said. And but I will always listen as you did, and I appreciate that. So let's do it again soon.
All right, man. You got it. Have a great day. Okay, I'm gonna let you go and wrap this up.
Charge your phone.
All right, man. Have a great one, man. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was Scott Wolter. We literally put that show together, and you heard him probably 5-10 minutes. And hope you all enjoyed it. He wanted to get out there. It was actually quite interesting to break the news to him that the entire monument came down. I guess I got the phone off now, so I don't have to worry about the battery. Let's go over to chat here and see what everybody's saying. It was definitely an interesting interview. I'll give it that. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm sorry I didn't get to all your questions, but I was having audio issues. I couldn't get through with him on the computer for some reason, and I just had to hold my iPhone up to the microphone on speaker, and hopefully you guys heard everything okay. But my iPhone is now dead, so thank goodness I had to charge as much as it did. I didn't even realize that. It didn't even occur to me to think that that I need to check my iPhone power. We were just going to do a quick 15-minute segment, and it turned into a 90-minute show. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Thanks so much, everybody, for the, John, for the super chat, man. Really do appreciate it. I hope, let's see, Timax says, the Guidestones have become a subject of interest for conspiracy theorists. One of them, an activist named Mark Dice, demanded that the Guidestones be smashed into 1 million pieces. You know, a lot of people wanted those Guidestones gone. I think if anybody remembers what I did a show, I don't know, 6 months ago or so, where I said, you know, I was surprised that nobody had taken them out yet. You know, it was definitely one of those things that you know, it's that I'm surprised that they were there as long as they were. So anyway, I guess that's going to wrap it up. Remember, guys, we are going to be coming back doing a show once a week. I guess so tomorrow or Thursday I was going to come on and do a little show, but I guess we'll knock this one out today. There, boom, there's our week. There's our show for this week. And I appreciate everybody hopping in here right at the end. Remember, you can always find us online. Just go to www.conflictradio.net. I apologize that there wasn't any warning for the show to join in the live stream. If you're listening to it recorded, it's just breaking news, changes everything. I got to tell you guys, I think things are really going to start cranking up and getting interesting. Make sure you, you know, are taking care of yourself and your family. Get some food, get some, you know, stock up on some things that I think are going to be disappearing. If you see the Dutch farmers and things that are going on in the world, it is getting nuts. And it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. And I think it's all by design. So batten down the hatches. Stay safe, everyone. We'll catch you next time.